Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, yeah. So and we're working the whole. Also, we're also trying to make sure that we get all areas of the state. Even though I'm centralized in Indianapolis, I don't want this to be a central Indiana thing. So that's why I try to get candidates from southern Indiana, northern Indiana. I'm recruiting hard some folks from the region right now. So hopefully we'll get them in. I'm heading out. I've got a city county council person coming on from Wayne County. So, you know, really it's all about just, you know, sharing this Democratic love. Yes. All right.
I'm in tune with that.
All right. Now he had a funny, when I was with him last week, he's like, are you gonna let me talk?
Yeah. Oh, you know.
What would make you think?
No. Because I'm a, you know me, I'm a talker. I can go. He was like, are you gonna let me talk?
I
thought that was.
I love people make it easy on me.
I love personality, right?
Just
I love it. I love it. I love personality. So I'll do the Derek Cam. Terry Burns. Got you, boss. 1 minute out. So you see people starting to chime in.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
That's awesome.
It does say what.
So they're there, right?
Right.
All right. Very good.
And of course, somebody sent a comment, but it pops out, so we're good.
No problem.
Oh, look, Grace is watching.
Gracie Grace! That's my girl. I thought she was going to come with you today.
Yeah, she's hanging out with Mal tonight.
Okay. Oh, they both cooking.
They both go.
Ready, boss?
And if you want to keep things right, turn left on RadioX.tv every Thursday evening, 6
This way for
to
you.
7 p.m. Indiana's own Dana Black, bringing you political news and views like you've never heard before. Turn left radio on RadioX.tv at the Cool Groups.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live from the Officeplex and RadioNext.tv. Yo, this is like a minority party happening up in this building. I'm not even gonna play, right? I mean, between Phil, who owns the building, and my man HB, who owns the station, and D Black, who owns Turn Left, this is a minority party, baby. So you know what? We are looking out for the community, and we're giving people opportunities to shine. So if you don't understand what that means, holla at your girl. So what is going on? What did I do last week? Oh, I was in Fort Wayne last week. I hung out with my people up in Fort Wayne. They had the Fort Wayne Pride. If you've not ever been up there, it was a wonderful thing. I actually spoke to some folks about being good, what good advocates look like, and making sure that people stay focused on, you know, the little wins. Sometimes we don't get the big win right away, but sometimes it's about the little wins. So that was a successful afternoon. And then Sunday, I crashed. Some days I just gotta do it. But it's been a prosperous week. Listen, y'all, don't trip on 45. He still says dumb stuff. Please, stay within our borders. Stay within our boundaries, because we have a lot of things that we need to deal with right here. Carly Maester is being successful over on the west side of Indianapolis. She's got some initiatives that are popping off. Robin Shackelford on the east side has got some things popping off. Y'all get in touch with these house reps. They are working on things to improve the cities that we live in. So stay focused on what's happening right here. Now, the incident up in Hamilton County, I can't not talk about it, because we're talking about the state of affairs in our country, and how we live in a state where, or a place where, in our history, where people feel like they have a license to be bigots. They feel like they have a license to go out and, first of all, when did it ever become cool to be a Nazi? I'm sorry. I thought we took care of fascism when we landed on the beaches of Normandy and we celebrated D-Day. Somebody educate these people about what fascism is. They look real stupid. I'm almost not even upset anymore because they're just so stupid in the way that they want to portray who they are. You want to be a Nazi? Really? You want to be the person that's responsible for millions of lives lost? But since they don't necessarily understand the impact of the message they're putting out there, I got to speak on it. And that is this. Do not be surprised about where bigotry raises its ugly head. Because it's in an affluent county or an affluent neighborhood, bigots are everywhere. And oh, by the way, unfortunately, bigotry travels. We have cars and planes and trains, and they can get on a bus or whatever it is that they or broom, whatever, and they can get to wherever they want to create havoc. Just don't own that negative energy, people. You know, we heard Mike Delph say that this was not the time to talk about hate crimes. I'm sorry, bruh. This is exactly the time to talk about hate crimes. Indiana is one of only 5 states without hate crimes legislation. And I'm kind of over it. I'm really over it. Now, I know Governor Holcomb, he finally, after, all these years, said that he supports it. I wish he would have spoke up when the Hispanic community was talking about hate crimes, or when the black community was talking about hate crimes, or when the Muslim community was talking about hate crimes, or when the LGBT community was talking about hate crimes. But we finally got there. We're talking about the affluent Jewish community in Carmel. Whatever it takes, we finally got him there. Now, what he has to do is work with the true leader of the Republican Party, which would be Brian Bosma, because he poo-poos it all the time. So, talk is good, but I need you to get some work done. They got a supermajority. Hopefully they won't after November, but they have a supermajority. They've had an opportunity to get this thing fixed a long time ago when they didn't. So I say you vote them out anyway, because lip service ain't working no more for me. They had an opportunity to fix it. They didn't. Y'all need to find candidates in all these areas who, and by the way, J.D. Ford is running against Mike Delph. J.D. Ford is running against the guy, the out and open LGBT candidate is running against the guy that says we don't need to talk about hate crimes legislation. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. All right, I want to share a couple of fundraisers that are happening because I'm be honest, I'm a host and it's my job to get people there. So on August the 16th, my man Derek Camp, who's running against Jim Merritt. We know who Jim Merritt is. He's a lackey for Brian Bosma. He doesn't speak for himself. It's almost like he's the ventriloquist dummy sitting on Brian Bosma's lap, and then Brian Bosma pulls back his head, and then Jim Merritt speaks. That's exactly what it's like. So what I want you to do is go out and support Derek Camp, because we have a fundraiser for him at Giacomo's Pizza next Thursday, or Thursday the 16th. I'll be in French Lick. Sorry, I've already made those plans. Sorry, but please, if you're not going to French Lick, please support my man at 9165 Otis Avenue from 5:30 to 7 at Giacomo's Pizza, and bring a check or a credit card. He's got a heavy race ahead in front of him, so please, please, please support my man Derek Camp, who's running in Senate District 31 against Jim Merritt. And one other fundraiser, my man, the constable, he actually carries a gun and a badge, and if I don't promote this one, I might be in trouble. So my man from Lawrence, the constable from Lawrence, he is having his fundraiser Tuesday, August 21st, and I will be there for that one at the Blind Owl at 5014 East 62nd Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46220, 5:30 to 7. Listen, unfortunately, campaigns cost money. We have yet to figure out, apparently, since Citizens United, how you can run a campaign without raising money. So please, these are 2 candidates that I support. Hopefully you can find it in yourself to come out, support these candidates, get to know what they're running for, why they're running. In fact, both of them have been on Turn Left before. So make sure you dig into the files, go to the YouTube page, and refresh your memory about who these great candidates are, and support them, because it's a blue wave, baby. You got your surfboard? I'm ready. I'm ready. All right. So tonight, Brock, I ain't gonna lie to you, I love you. I really, really do. And I don't want you to feel slighted when I do this introduction. This my little brother right here. I love Brock. This This is my little brother, Greg Rathnow. Him and I met in 2016 when we were both rookies running for office, and I remember we were at the South Side Decatur Township Club, and we were in the parking lot, and we were just talking about some of the things that were frustrating us and some of the things that excited us, and collectively we just bonded right then and there, and he became the little brother I always wanted. This young man is doing positive things. You know, he's about moving Indiana forward. You will love him. People, welcome to the show, Greg Rathnow.
Thank you, Dana.
All right, and then to his left, I met this man last week, but I went up to Crawfordsville because what was exciting about it, the people in Crawfordsville were trying to figure out how they can have a presence more in Montgomery County and be good Democrats. And so we went up and we sat and ate wings and drank a little spirits, and we talked about improving the visibility and how we can be better Democrats in the community of Montgomery County. You guys, welcome to Turn Left, another good, hard-working individual who wants to move Indiana forward, my man, Brock Ervin. Sir, welcome to Turn Left.
Thank you very much. Forward together. That's one of my mottos. I have many.
And good segue.
I will say also, I've met you before. First time probably, I'm not sure how close we got, 2016 Women's March.
Okay.
And
wow. I'm an old lady, so please forgive me.
This one though, I'm not sure about this year's state convention. I got a big hug from you.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I'm terrible.
Yeah,
See. But look, that's what
I have one of those faces. It's okay.
Yeah. Don't let me get away with nonsense. I love it. Call me an iPod. Well, you know, old lady and vodka. So I'm just saying, things can happen in a way we're used. Things can happen. But Brock is what I call a reluctant leader, but he is stepping up and making it happen. So hold on, little brother. I'm gonna bring in Brock first because I think his story is incredibly interesting. So tell the people where you come from, where you be, and how you get here.
Okay.
Now,
that's a big question.
See, radio, you can't have that air, man.
Okay, here we go. So really, I'm here because of my wife. That's really why I'm here. My wife, she started off and she was going to run, and she actually did run. She was on the primary ballot, and you know, she saw the vacancy. She saw Tim Brown was going to go uncontested once again. That'd be 6 out of 12 years that he'd gone uncontested.
Ooh, Lord.
So we can't have that. So and she recognized that, and she was going to be that leader that we needed to bring us forward together. But she had an issue with work. It simply didn't work out. So after the primary, she had to step out. Nobody was stepping in. So I decided I was going to do it. You know, really the question is, you know, why not me? You know, nobody else is doing it. But the real reason comes down to the fact that we need a choice. Democracy demands that we have a choice. And Tim Brown's been in office 24 years. I graduated high school 24 years ago.
Wow.
So it's been a long time, and again, you know, half the time he's gone uncontested. So if people would step up every time, have somebody to go against them, have some different values to put forth, who knows who would be in office right now if we were consistently doing that.
And that's why I like your story. Your story isn't about I woke up at 5 years old and knew I was going to run for office.
Nope.
You know, to me, you are the epitome of what it is to be a servant. Right? I'm not saying all the other candidates are not.
Absolutely.
But your story was somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. So tell me about you. Before we go too deep into your story about politics and what your platform is, tell the people how you grew up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because that smile is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Braces.
Ain't they wonderful? I had two, baby. I had two.
Yeah.
Orthodontist.
So, you know, really, I spent my time driving around with my dad listening to Rush Limbaugh. I grew up as a Republican. I spent most of my adult life, a lot of my adult life, voting as a Republican. But really, issue by issue, I started figuring things out a little bit more. I went to Purdue. I started out in mechanical engineering, changed over to science, and frankly, just getting around into a multicultural community, it gives you a much different perspective on things. And so, issue by issue, I started rethinking some things, and I didn't become
education does that.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Education does
exposure can do that. And so, you know, I found myself agreeing with a lot of what the Democrat Party stood for, and so here I am.
That's a great story. People evolve, people change,
Absolutely.
people grow. But we will say that most Democrats, there are more Democrats with college degrees than the other party. Not saying that you have to have one. I'm just saying education, opens the minds and gets you to see things differently. Because not all of our Democrats, because our Labor Party and a lot of our Labor folks are big Democrats. I'm not saying that you have to have a college degree, but I'm just saying Democrats are usually smarter anyway. So Greg, you know how much I love you. So I'm gonna stop. I'm stopping. I'm gonna stop swooning.
And I love you right back, Dad.
I'm gonna stop swooning in just a minute. It's Greg. Y'all don't understand. This is Greg. Greg, tell people where you been, where you come from, how you get here.
Yeah. So I'll start all the way at the beginning. Born in Missouri, raised in Illinois, came to Indiana for college in 2000. Graduated from college and never left Indiana.
Yay! Brain game. Brain game. Yay!
Moved to India. I used to live in Northwest Indiana. Went to college at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana. Moved down here in 2009, I guess it was, to work at IUPUI in their undergraduate admissions office. And currently, I work at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy at IUPUI.
Nice.
Nice. It's a wonderful program that we have. We're really lucky, both as an institution, as a city and a state, to have that there. So.
Excellent. So tell them the story, man. Tell them the story how you got introduced, were introduced, and wanted to be involved in politics.
Yeah. So I'm probably one of those candidates who has wanted to be involved for a while.
Yeah.
I knew when I was young. I remember, I'm 36 years old. So the first election that I really remember was the '92 election. It was George Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot. Now. My shame is, I remember.
No shame.
If you remember the Nickelodeon Kids Vote for the President or Kids Pick the President, it was a thing. It was a thing.
Nickelodeon came on after I became an adult.
Maybe some of our listeners out there remember.
You remember Nickelodeon?
No. Let's talk about the electric company, okay?
Schoolhouse Rock,
there
baby.
we go.
But go ahead, Nickelodeon.
So they had a thing. Kids Pick the President. You called up and you voted for who you want to be president. Well, I voted. Somehow I got caught up in Ross Perot's presidency. I called up and voted for Ross Perot. I remember that. But I remember that year I thought, man, I want to be president someday.
Okay.
And as I grew older, I realized, I don't really want to be president. And in college, I thought my dream job was to be a United States Senator. And then something happened. Barack Obama ran for president. Okay. Now listen, I'm from Illinois, so we know Barack Obama came up in the Illinois legislature, and I was fortunate enough I got to vote for Barack Obama when he ran for Illinois Senate. And I remember when he got into the Senate, one of the things that he said was his influence on people's day-to-day lives was severely diminished once he got into the Senate compared to the Illinois legislature, and that really got me thinking. I need to start looking at state level issues, because the reason I'm interested in politics is because I want to have a positive effect on people's lives. And I started looking at these state level issues and realized, yep, the things that affect our day-to-day lives for the most part happen in the State House right down the street. And
do y'all see why I love him so much? He's my kind of guy. And this is not your first run.
It's not. I ran
not in 2018. So.
Yep. I ran in 2016, as you know. And what really motivated me to run then is we have the supermajorities, the Republican supermajorities, and I saw over the past several years, group after group after group, being diminished by this legislature. And I thought, somebody's got to stand up and do something, and it can't just be on Facebook. We've got to stand up, take leadership, take ownership of this issue, or these issues that are important to us, and do something about it. And I was proud to run in 2016, and I'm proud to do it again in 2018.
Well, you got some perseverance, and I think that is one of the things that my level of love for you was already there. When we were rookies out here campaigning, but you put on your chin strap and you said, I'm gonna go do this again. People, if you've never ran for office, running for office is hard work. I know, I often see on the book how people talk about, well, who is the party putting up? No, people have to want to run for office, because the party is not out knocking doors for you. The party isn't making phone calls for you. The party isn't writing your speeches and your platforms and putting your mail blitz together. You're doing those things for yourself. And for you to say, okay, I'm rejuvenated. It could be youth, and I ain't mad at you for it. To say I'm going to do it again, I was with you. When they asked me if I was running again, I was like, I think I'll try something else. I did my time. So I love you for it. I love you for it. So, Brock, talk to me a little bit about, some of the issues that you are seeing out in Crawfordsville that maybe we, people around the state may not be aware of that also impacted your decision to be out here and run for office.
Well, the biggest issue that I'm running on is really affecting the entire state, public education, specifically our making sure that we're supporting our traditional public schools. So it's it's amazing what I've been learning, and really I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. My wife is the one who brought this issue to my attention. I'm a public school teacher, so I taught previously 15 years ago, hard to say. For 4 years, I'm getting back into it this year at Southmont High School. Shout out to the Monties.
Okay.
So she helped me learn about what's going on with the voucher program and what's going on with the charter school programs. And so we've got 7% of what we tag as public education money, and yet it's not going into our traditional public schools, the place where most of us went to school.
Absolutely.
That's $500 million a year. Public education, that's probably our biggest ticket item for the state, $6.5 million, I think. So, $6.5 billion would be. And so we're losing about 7% of that to these other education systems. Now, I support education no matter where it is. But the idea of a public education system is that we are making sure that the structure exists to allow every kid to get a chance at an education that wants one. Now, that doesn't mean we're paying for all kids. It means that we're creating the structure that allows all kids to get an education. That's the public school system.
Okay, explain.
So, just picture, every dollar needs to support every other dollar in the public education system. So when we start losing money to other school systems, we're spreading that butter too thin on the toast. So I like to use a visual, picture a brick house, take away 7% of the bricks. Now that house might stand, it might not, but it's definitely weakened. And that's what we're doing to our traditional public schools. It's just too much. The charter program, that has some merit in the thought of why we have those, because there are kids out there that maybe need a little bit of a different route in their education system to succeed. The voucher program, that's a little bit more controversial. When you're supposed
I don't like it. I'm just going to put it out there.
Put it out there. Absolutely.
I understand you're being politically. I hate it because whenever you take my gay tax dollars and you give it to a parochial school that can deny my child an education, I got a problem with that. So I'm not a voucher fan, and I understand you got to do what you got to do because you got to win some votes, but
it's a First Amendment issue for me. What are we doing mingling that? Now our state courts apparently decided that we're not actually giving that money to religious schools. We're giving it to the parents, and the parents are doing with it what they want. That's a cop-out.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. So that's near and dear, and I've got 3 kids, 2 that just entered high school, 1 that's in 5th grade, and so it's a terribly important issue. I'll just touch on one other topic: environmental issues, sustainability. So a sustainable future is kind of the umbrella motto on that, the umbrella theme. First and foremost for me, with my background in earth science, I've been following climate change for a long time. Okay, and to see that we're still arguing.
When you thought you were a Republican, how about that?
Yeah, absolutely. When I thought I was a Republican, before I was even exposed to the evils of college education.
At 10 o'clock, at 10 years old, I thought I was straight. So things happen.
Okay, there we go. So but we should have been doing something about this 30 years ago. We understood what was going on 30 years ago. The science, people don't realize the science on this goes back, roughly about 100 years when we really started understanding, greenhouse effect. Greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, it's a blanket that we're putting on ourselves around the whole planet. And yet we're still arguing over this issue.
We're only arguing over it because their profit margins are going to decrease if we actually change the way that we do business in our state and in our nation. So, the idea that politicians are putting the profit margins of corporations over the health and well-being of our planet and the inhabitants of that planet is a major issue to me. Tell me what's going on down in Frizzellville.
Yes.
What's going on the south side?
South side of Indianapolis. So, what I'm running for this time is really to be a champion for the south side, because the south side of Indianapolis hasn't had that for the last 26 years. We have a legislator right now who is beholden to ALEC. And if you all aren't familiar with ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, and what I would recommend, seriously, Google ALEC, ALEC, Atlanta. ALEC Atlanta, and you're going to come up with this investigative report from an Atlanta news organization that I think is the epitome of what ALEC is, and the dark money that ALEC has, and the legislation that they are pushing in every single state, model legislation that these corporations are writing and sending home with their legislators. So my opponent was the ALEC chairman, and I believe it was 2012, and then in 2014 he was ALEC's Legislator of the Year. Now you tell me, you don't get to be ALEC's Legislator of the Year unless
you
you're
ain't
passing
screwing over
all of their legislation.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is happening on the south side, kind of to piggyback off your environmental issues, we have these coal ash ponds down there, the Harding Street coal ash ponds. Now, fortunately, they converted that power plant into a natural gas power plant. But guess what? We still have all this toxic waste that is sitting there on the south side, and they're trying to discuss. Well, first of all, some of them aren't lined. Okay.
Well, yeah, because they don't have the same regulation that
right.
landfills.
That's right, exactly. And so all these heavy metals and these toxic chemicals are leaching into the groundwater. By the way, the Harding Street plant, if you're not familiar, is right next to the White River. Okay. So what's happening, and my district is just a few hundred yards down south of the White River, or down river from the Harding Street plant. So what's happening, we're seeing it in Franklin, Indiana right now. Now Franklin's not in my district, but those people, there is an exponentially higher rate of cancer, childhood cancer down there, and they finally linked it to these carcinogens and these toxins that have leached into the ground and the groundwater. It's unbelievable. We have to have regulations and state agencies and state lawmakers that are willing to step up for the people and put health before profits.
So all right. Let's just switch this up. I'm gonna switch this up completely. Normally I would just go on down your three topics, but I want to go back to this. Let's roll up our sleeves and put our knuckles up. Excuse me. I have a little cold. I apologize, y'all. So here we are in 2018. Everybody has access, to an electronic library in your pocket. We have the information available to us. So I know that these legislators who are in our state house, 70% on the House side that are Republicans, they have access to the exact same data that you and we all talk about. And my listeners know I talk about coal ash pits and super polluters on a regular basis. How is it that we as voters in the state of Indiana are allowing these elected officials to get away with poisoning us on a regular basis and not standing up to these elected officials? I mean, you don't have to go as hard knuckle as I will, but tell me, how does it make you feel inside knowing that these people are supposed to be responsible for our lives and are just saying, be gone?
We're voting them in there.
We ain't. They are. Yeah.
Well, no, we are Indiana. Yeah. Indiana is voting him in there.
You're right.
And so the real question is, why do Republicans, and things are changing slowly the way Indiana tends to always do. Heaven forbid we ever lead the way on any positive cause. But
everybody don't know how to lead.
So
I'm sorry. I said that out loud.
So how did our voters get
suckered in?
Suckered in. There you go. Thank you. To believing this, and to me, I've always thought about this a lot, and it comes back to the idea of needing to give everybody free control over their lives, and so regulations are bad, and making sure we also want to make sure we enforce that capitalistic society. That means making sure that capitalism leads the way. And they want companies to be able to do what they need to do to lead society. I hate using the word they, but to me what I see happening is that they want as small of government as possible, and they want basically business to, like I said, lead the way. And so that way of thinking means that we are going to vote for what's good for big business. We are going to vote for government doing as little as possible on a lot of issues. Okay, keep government out of my life is kind of the motto there. Now, I don't know if that's anything that you've seen, but that's, again, grew up Republican.
That's what we need to hear, man.
This is what I feel like a lot of Republican voters are feeling and thinking.
And I find that interesting because, I'm going to let you jump in just a second. I find that interesting because you said, get government out of our lives,
Yeah.
but they want government to regulate who can get married.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I know you true blue through and through. Not that you're not. I know you. I mean, so how does it make you feel when you know that government's job is to look out for the citizens, and these elected officials are doing the exact opposite?
Well, I would just say what's happened, I think, is we as a Democratic Party have traditionally lost the information war. Right?
Okay.
We've lost it. We have allowed this narrative that people have bought into that, kind of like what you said. If big business is doing well, then I might do well. I have a chance of doing well if big business does well. That hasn't happened in the last 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe in the history of humanity, but that's the narrative big business pushes, and people buy into that.
Because I want to be wealthy too.
Because I want to be so if I like people who are wealthy, or if I make a few concessions to help other people be wealthy, then I'll probably be wealthy.
But wages in Indiana have been stagnant.
They have.
How do we fix this, y'all? I mean, I know that people want, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, people want that simple Dr. Seuss message, the cat in the hat, 3 or 4 words, but these are real complex issues that require complex answers. How do we get that message out to the thinking people? Because I'm not going to sit up here and believe that every Republican is not an educated person. Right? I'm not going to tell you.
Absolutely
We know that there are Republicans who are very, very intelligent people. How do we get them the information to say, you're voting against your own interests? How do we get there? Help me.
I think, if I had the answer to that, if I could give that answer to you right now, I'd already be in office.
Okay.
and I'd take all my friends with me.
So here's the way I'm looking at it. So another part of the answer to your original question was Republicans are saying, we are going to bring jobs. That's what big businesses do. And that's what, of course, that's how everybody makes the bread and butter, is having a decent job. But what they're failing to do with that message is making sure that they're good jobs, making sure that they're safe jobs. And
that's what government is supposed to do.
Right. So the point is that they continue to make decisions that are based on, our legislators' pocketbooks and not our citizens' pocketbooks. So I call it a public focused decision making process. That's what's failing. That's what we don't have. So they're making decisions that every decision they should make, they need to ask themselves, is this better for the people? Now, sometimes supporting big business might be better, might be exactly what people need. But it's always got to be better for the people at the foundational level.
And I agree with that. I think that's who we are as the Big Tent Party. We
Absolutely.
And for me, if it's got to be a Dr. Seuss quote for me, it's people over profits. I've been saying a hashtag it, y'all. People over profits. But you were about to say.
Well, I want people to be successful.
Absolutely.
I think we all want people to be successful.
I want businesses to be successful. Absolutely.
There's no question about it. But what is, I feel the true downfall of our country is greed and corporate greed. That's the root of our problem right now. And I think that's where government has a role to step in and put in some, we call them regulations. I think they're protections. They're consumer protections is what they really are. We're not throwing these things in to make business less successful. We're trying to enact laws that protect the greater good of the country.
I agree. And see, you guys echo a lot of what I feel inside and the message that I think we try to convey as Democrats, and that is, we want every business to be as successful as it possibly can be. But we don't want them to be successful at the expense of
That's right.
Human life, the environment, our water, our environment. We want you to be successful. Please be successful. Please bring jobs. but we don't want you killing us. It's not. It's not an even trade-off for me. The idea that the EPA is starting to slash now, some more of those regulations and fuel emissions. The insanity of the idea that we're going to go back to higher fuel emissions, which means, burn more gas, which means higher demand, which means, oh, by the way, gas prices will go up. Come on, y'all. you talk about capitalism, that's capitalism. Your gas prices are going to go up if these EPA changes take effect. They're going to go up. But the idea that we are going to forsake your children's future and your children's, as I ain't having that. I'm done. The future of our humanity for the sake of profits for a very few. It's only 1%.
Well, here's one of the dumb things about that is that petroleum, that's one of the fossil fuels that it actually does have a lifespan. Mm-hmm. That is one of the things that we will run out of within, I don't know what the projection was.
Well, Mad Max told us that.
I'm not sure about your sourcing, but yeah.
Mel Gibson and Mad Max, y'all know what he said, and they was out there fighting over it. Yes, they did.
But yeah, so coal, yeah, we got a ton of it. Natural gas, we got it. But petroleum, that's something that we are going to run out of. So what is the goal? To just
we got a lot of sun and wind too.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No,
I knew you were going there. But it's like, we got a lot of sun and wind, but we have legislators who write legislation to kill that initiative.
Here's the point. When we don't mine that coal, when we don't extract that natural gas or petroleum to big companies, big fuel companies, that's money left in the ground. So that's the incentive that they have on their end to make sure that we allow this to continue to move forward. So again, we got to keep in sight, be looking 50 years in the future, 100 years in the future, and look at what we're doing to ourselves and our planet.
Come on, chime in one more again before we change subjects. Because I was gonna say every time you take something out the ground, there's a void. People,
yeah.
There's a void. I wonder if those 2 holes downtown Indianapolis had something to do with that money they didn't want to leave in the ground. But go ahead.
Well, you mentioned that our legislators are actively voting against these renewable sources of energy and the incentives that allow people to afford to put them on their house.
Absolutely. And
that's a bill that my
your opponent,
my representative, voted for a couple sessions ago.
Mine too.
It's unconscionable that they would do things like
because
that.
they're no, and I'm just going to say it because you guys don't have to say it. I'm not a candidate on the ballot. They don't care about us. They don't care about us. I'm sorry. If they cared about us, they would rethink and find balance. Right? There's balance between a business being successful and taking care of the environment. All right. So we kind of hammered the environment issue a little bit, and we'll jump back on the education thing a little bit. But tell me another area that you're running on that you find is working out well in your district.
We absolutely need to address mental health issues.
Okay.
At the high school where my kids are going to be going next year, we've seen far more suicides than we should expect out of a rural community. I don't know how do you address where's the source of that coming from?
Right.
Is it the opioid epidemic? What's the source of the depression? What's the source of those feelings? Is it bullying in our schools? Whatever it is, it's got to have a lot of sources, and so we've got to attack it on a lot of angles. But suicide rates in Indiana have gone up 30%.
Wow, I did not know that.
In the last 20 years.
I did not know that.
It's actually it's nationwide, but Indiana is one of the high ones.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the number 2 cause of death for our teenagers and young adults.
Wow.
So I'll throw some more numbers at you because scientists, numbers mean things. 30% of our high school students report that they have long periods of depression. 20% will report that they've at least thought about suicide, and 10% will say that they've actually attempted it.
Wow.
So it's a major issue.
It is a major issue, and I think a part of that is making sure that we, I am not obviously a mental health professional, so please understand that this is just Dana Black, trying to be as compassionate as she possibly can about a very, very sensitive issue. Sometimes it's about us catching these young folks before they get to that state where they're at a point of no return.
Yeah. And that's where I think, we're fortunate here in Indianapolis because we have access, readily available access to mental health counseling.
Right.
In our rural areas of the state, they don't have that. There are many counties in the state of Indiana that don't have a psychiatrist or psychologist anywhere in the county.
Wow.
How
can you deal with such a thing?
Right.
It's a barrier. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, in mental health, is it still that thing that we're not really all that comfortable with? I love the Mike Phelps commercial. The multi-gold medal winning swimmer who talked about how he improved his life after winning all these medals and being an Olympic champion. His life still became better after he was able to seek therapy. I mean, it's just.
And we need people like that speaking up.
Absolutely.
We went to an incredible Imagine Dragons concert a few 3-4 weeks ago.
Imagine Dragons?
Oh, come on.
Just,
Okay. Well, anyways, for the listeners who know that was a terrific concert, and that was one of the issues that he hammered home on, and making it public, making it, exposed, keeping the naked truth out there. I would love for it to be looked at as the same kind of illness as if or damage as if you broke your
arm. Right.
Absolutely. You're wearing a cast. People are helping you carry your books. So we need to make sure that when people are down and out, that we are helping them as a community.
And I'm also curious why we haven't been able to. Everybody talks about. They get mad if you kneel for an anthem because you're disrespecting veterans, but our veteran community is suffering disproportionately from mental health issues. We care so much about our veterans that the football players can't kneel, but we're not, Greg, we're not willing to even talk about how we can improve the lives of veterans with mental health issues.
That's absolutely right, and I think part of the issue is insurance, and insurance won't cover a lot of mental health issues. Okay. And I think that's something we need to address. If you talk to the police and the jails, they essentially are mental health counselors.
Yes, they are.
Right? Our jails are chock full of people who have
mental health
issues.
They call them frequent flyers.
Absolutely.
And they know who they are.
Our homeless population, which largely are veterans, there's a large population of them, have mental health issues or substance abuse issues. We have to do something to increase access to mental health treatment for all sectors.
All sectors.
Young, old, veteran.
Well, I'm thinking, because all of these flag wearing bikini outfit people want to disrespect veterans. Maybe we gotta wrap this around veterans causes, not to stigmatize, but we love our veterans. Of course, now I'm being facetious because we know how we treat our veterans. Veterans have to ask for assistance, and the VA is always struggling. But when I think about people who are willing to do things I am not willing to do, and that is to pick up a weapon and defend our country, that we don't even bother to take care of them when they've experienced trauma. So, okay, all right. So what else is going on the South Side that we need to talk about and what you're running your campaign on, sir?
One of the issues that I'm really passionate about is the labor movement and labor unions and the ability for people to organize and fight back against, and we touched on this already, but corporate greed. We know that states in, labor-friendly, or citizens in labor-friendly states have higher wages, have safer working conditions, have more time off, report better, higher satisfaction of family time, things like that. We have
higher quality of life. There's probably 47 states that are better than ours. Oh wait, I'm sorry. There are 47 states that are better than us with higher quality. Like we're 48th in the nation.
And that's just it's another one of those things that is absolutely unconscionable. And we have done everything we can in this state and now in the country to dismantle our right as everyday, common, working citizens to organize and demand
collective
better
bargain.
Yep.
Which to me is the insanity of it all. Because when two companies, when they plan a merger or plan a deal, they get all their lawyers together and they sit across the table from each other and they collectively bargain. Why are they so opposed? Are they, like you said, are they just so daggone greedy that they don't care about, you know, the livelihood of the consumers who are trying to ultimately buy their product?
It's all greed. Every bit of it. It's all about the bottom line stock price. You know, CEOs are judged solely on how the stock price is doing. So it's absolutely corporate greed, and that's what they don't want. One single penny to go to their workers. They want it to go back to their stock price, so they look that much better.
I know the Amazon CEO is starting to catch a little flack because he's pretty much turning all of his stuff into automation, and you know, he's running. Go, you ready?
Well, I was just gonna say. Did you see Apple today? They just announced the first $1 trillion U.S. company.
Yeah. But I guess you gotta have those kind of profits in order to feel successful. But I would like knowing that every child, like we talked about earlier, you know, look what LeBron James does with his money.
Absolutely.
Versus what the Amazon man and the Tesla man do. They want to go to they want space travel. All right, everybody has a different passion, and I get that. Everybody can, you know, because we want to go live on Mars. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't ever want to live on Mars. No, sweetie. We have a perfectly good planet right here.
If we ever do, it better not be because we need to find another planet. That's the problem.
And it's too hot. I mean, even I like heat, but it's going to be too. No. But LeBron James is saying, I'm going to take some of my wealth and my influence, not just my wealth, but my influence, and create a space where children can thrive. What happened to, you know, even Bill Gates did that. Come on. I want to go to Mars. No. All right, so here we are. It's 2018, and we got a lot of energy on our side of the house. How are you guys utilizing that in your campaigns?
Well, okay, I'm gonna break the silence here. So I'm gonna admit that I am still in getting the ball rolling. Like I said, we had you know, issues from when Summer had to drop out of her campaign. Yeah, so we're getting there. What we're going to be doing to really try to, first of all, and one of the things I would need to do in my campaign is make sure I'm reaching out to try to find those issues that we do all agree on. Okay, so it's obviously a very red district. I know there are a lot of liberals out there, a lot of you know, progressive people that are thinking differently nowadays. We got to bring them out of the woodwork. But I also need to reach out to the middle of the road Republicans. And let them know.
Thinking Republicans.
Yeah, absolutely. The ones that are not going to just hit, you know, Republican down the whole ballot. And so that means thinking about those issues that, you know, trying to bring to light those issues that we agree on, even though it doesn't seem like we do. Okay, those polarized issues. And so, you know, we were touching on it already as far as industry. Okay, we can be pro-industry, but we want to make sure that that industry is taking care of us too, with our jobs, with our pay, with our environment. I don't think anybody, including those industries, really is going to argue that too much, because they've got kids too, they've got families too, they're part of the community.
Oh no! Don't you know when you make so much money, the air that you breathe is different, and the water that you drink is. Ask the rich people in Flint.
Maybe for a few people.
Ask the rich people in Michigan, because I'm sure they're going to tell you, no, I don't consume the same air that they breathe down there.
You know, so I'm reaching out in terms of, you know, making sure that my message is clear that I absolutely support our police. Okay, I support our armed servicemen. Okay, and our veterans. With the police, I've been talking to a few police officers lately, and one of the issues that you know, I'm learning a lot by talking to people, and I love that.
That's how you learn.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've was brought to my attention is that maybe, as much as I support the Black Lives Matter movement, we got to make sure that there's not a backlash to that, because some of the police are saying that now it's not a race issue with them. It's just that no matter who they're running into, who they're pulling over for a taillight or whatever they've got to do as part of their job, is they are experiencing more you know, well, you know, what are you pulling me over for, as opposed to just simply being respectful to a guy that's doing his job, and not to mention a job that, you know, he's putting his life on the line for.
Well, and I understand that, but here chicken or the egg. See, chicken or the egg. It's chicken. See, so, and I would always tell, and I worked for IMPD, and I was able to create really positive relationships, and I too support those officers out there that are doing the right thing. However, because I'm Black life and it matters.
Absolutely.
There's the history of behavior of poor behaving police officers has created this situation. Not the Black Lives Matter movement. The fact that people are no longer taking the mistreatment from those bad officers.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm saying, it's my yes and also statement. Okay, so yes, we absolutely support the police, but we also need to make sure that we have accountability with the police.
Absolutely.
So we can all agree on that. But what I don't want to see is people changing how simple respect for one person to another over trying to push Black Lives Matter or whatever particular issue they have. And maybe it has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's back to the quality of life issue. Maybe it's has something to do with values that aren't getting relayed to our kids because parents are working too much or whatever it might be. But I do want to make sure that the police that are putting their lives on the line for us, do get that respect that they deserve, because that's the only way that we can change things is if we are working with them, not against them.
I'm not going to belabor the point, but I will say that the police officers also have to remember that our civil rights don't end when they become 5 feet in front of us.
I'm not arguing.
Because I'm very passionate about it because I have been arrested for nothing. So literally being an 18-year-old kid sitting on the curb. Right? Yeah. So I know what that experience is like. So I want to make sure, and I get what you're saying, and what you're saying is you're finding common ground to try to have these conversations in the district that is definitely
mutual respect.
Right. But it's got to, don't forget that my civil rights don't end because you have a gun and a badge and you're 5 feet away from me, and that is why the angst is there. And that's a historical issue too.
Here's one thing I want to also differentiate between. Let's differentiate between the people calling the cops and the cops showing up.
Oh, that's a whole. And you want to go there?
Well, that's
you a brave soul on turn left, man.
Well, I'm just saying it's very easy to confuse those two issues because it's the cop that ends up on somebody's phone camera.
Right.
So
they're starting to catch the Beckys that are making the phone calls now.
Yeah.
So what are the issues?
Listen, I want to get back to kind of the blue wave, as you call it, energy in the Democratic Party. I'm worried about the term blue wave and how we're all using it and we're all excited about it, because I'm afraid that's going to allow certain people to sit on their tails and not
They still ain't learning their lesson. Hold on. I'm gonna talk to the people.
Dude.
Listen. If you are still being passive after 2016 and you don't understand that you got to get your behinds up and go to the polls, don't talk to me. This don't even. I don't even know who you are anymore.
That's right. We need to remember. We need to get out there. We need to knock on doors. We need to write postcards. We need to make phone calls with every single candidate up and down the ballot. But I'll tell you that I remember. Dana, you spoke at the Women's March after the inauguration in 2017, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And the amount of people there and the energy there, I think we all just had chills in us, and we said, okay, there's a movement here. And then 1 year later, guess what? We had another Women's March, and we had exactly the same energy, almost as many people, and I said, you know what? This is something real.
It's real.
This is something real. And I believe, and then we had, after the the Florida shooting, we had these high school
young people who will be voting now.
Organized, and we sat outside in the snow, in the cold and the snow, wrapped around the State House, trying to get in for this rally, and people didn't even care that it was 25 degrees outside and they were getting snowed on. I was soaked by the time I walked into that State House, but gosh darn it, we had a great time. The high school kids were energized. It helps energize me, and I think our party. So this is one thing I know about my own race. Okay, again, I ran in 2016. If everybody who voted for me in 2016 votes for me in 2018, I win. There's no question about it.
Okay.
But we've got to figure out how to get all those people motivated in a non-presidential year.
I don't know how you cannot be motivated. You and I, the three of us, just sat and talked for the last 40 minutes about breathing and consuming water. I mean, I don't know how you could get more basic, right, than that. We didn't go into real political philosophies about the economy. No, we're talking about basic things that matter. So if those things are being threatened, how could that not motivate you? How could it not motivate you as a concern, as a parent who has a child in school, that your child's school may shut down because there's a funding shortage? Please pick up a copy of IBJ Forefront. I'm going to make a shameless plug real quick. Your Indiana's own Dana Black wrote an op-ed piece in Forefront about that $1.8 billion surplus. Please pick it up and read it, because it came from, when I heard about it, my fingers just started typing. You know, I think I turned in my submission like 2.5 weeks before it was due, because I woke up that Sunday morning, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not saying spend all our money. I would never tell you that. I don't spend all my money in my house. But we got a crisis. But it's real issues continue to make you passive. We already saw this once.
Well, so the reason we spent so much time talking about basic issues is because of the Republican supermajorities. The Democrats, as supermajority, for those of you who don't know, means Democrats literally don't have to show up and the State House can conduct business. So I talked to a teacher not too long ago, and he said, "Where have the Democrats been for me? They're not there fighting for my issues." And I thought, are you watching the same committee hearings and the same floor debates that I am? That's one. So a shout out to our Democratic elected officials.
30
my gosh,
House members and 9 Senate members.
They are the 39 most passionate people in that State House. I watch. When they're in session, I watch that stuff religiously. I'll go home and watch the archives, and it is unbelievable the difference between when a Republican gets up and speaks at the lectern and a Democrat. The Democrats speak with passion, they speak with fire, and what I told that teacher is they are fighting for your issues. Trust me, and they're fighting with passion. But when we can vote and we can fight with passion, but as long as we have these super majorities, nothing is going to change.
Our legislation doesn't even get heard, and that's the scary. Unless there's a wheel, greasing some wheels or whatever, our legislation doesn't even get heard. So I want you to think about that. When Governor Holcomb won the governorship, it was not a 70-30, 41-9 split. It was a 52-48 split. So that means 48% of our state's needs are not being heard because of the supermajority. We're not asking to take over. We're asking that our side be heard, and right now our side is not being heard. All right, we're getting close to having to wrap this thing up, so I want to make sure that I give both of you guys enough time to tell people where they can find you, how they can donate to your campaign, how they can sign up to be volunteers. Go.
Yeah. So first of all, this has been awesome. I can't believe this went so quickly. I could spend another hour with you, Dana. And
HB keeps talking about making it 2 hours, but we'll see. We'll see.
If it does, I want to come back on.
I don't know if the listeners. I don't know if they want to do it.
They might not, but we'd have fun. Anyway, so
I would need the beer for that.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, I got a buddy that does a podcast called Brother Beer Man, so maybe we can go visit with him.
Today's IPA day, by the way. Okay. Anyways. So, GregRathnow.com, Facebook, Rathnow HD93, or Rathnow for Indiana, rather. Twitter is Rathnow HD93.
Okay.
And you can link through my website, GregRathnow.com. There's a contribute button right there. Please, you know what? I had a lady the other day tell me, she said, I want to give you money. She goes, but I can't do much. She wrote me a $100 check, and she goes, I'm sorry, that's all I can do. $100 for a candidate like me?
Thank you, Miss Lady.
I said I can reach. That helps me reach 240 voters. So please, no amount is too small.
Absolutely. And when is your next fundraiser?
So I have a fundraiser. I have a private fundraiser coming up for my college friends and things like that. That's coming up this Sunday. I don't have another public one scheduled just yet, but I will push that out soon.
And then when are you going out canvassing again?
Oh man, thank you for asking. So I'm gonna be canvassing this weekend, Saturday. We'll be canvassing from probably noon to 6, and then the 11th and 12th of August, we're going to have a big canvas day. So get on my website, shoot me a Facebook message, shoot me a Twitter message, and we can get you signed up and out and knocking doors.
All right, we tagged him on this post, so you should be able to just go straight to his link. Okay, Brock, tell the people where they can find you, man.
All right. You can look me up online, brockforindiana.com, Facebook, Brock for Indiana. I'm on Twitter, but I wouldn't go there. Haven't done anything with that one yet. I know I work for the president, but I'm not quite there yet. Yeah.
I know, right?
So I apologize I didn't come with those dates in mind, but we've got a fundraiser coming up with our friends David and Sheridan, a house event. We're going to be really excited to start a canvassing campaign because we're going to be hitting up a strategic way. We're going to be going out to the small communities around us, as well as as well as Lebanon and Crawfordsville. We're going to be having picnics. We're going to invite folks out after we're done canvassing, and we're going to try to really make a community event out of it. Try to get people to bring in books for the local schools.
Oh, nice,
yeah.
A book drive, yes.
Right. So,
I love that.
It's all politics is local, and so that's how we want to play it.
I'll be honest with you. I last week on the show I talked about what the ideas that you guys had in Montgomery County, aside from the fact that you were coming on the show, because I really loved the passion that the five of you, right? 5 people were so motivated about how can we be the best Democrats we can be in our county. Tag me, you guys, on events so that I can share them for you guys. I wish I could hit that dang lottery and I could donate to everybody's campaign.
I will say we haven't lined up your suggestion quite yet. We haven't planned any barn cleanings or stump removing parties yet.
Hey, but you got the t-shirts.
I'm not sure what you think we do out there in Montgomery County.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's barns in Indianapolis.
Yeah, but they're pretty dang dirty, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't go. I know that's.
We don't clean our barns.
No.
That's why they look so nice and antique, and when they drive by.
Outside.
Well, anyway.
Whatever.
That's what God's rain does.
Oh, okay, man. There you go. I love her. I love it. All right, Indiana's on Dana Black. Listen, these guys are passionate about taking care of our state. Please, please, please find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever their social media sites are. Volunteer if it's just handing out water or being there for moral support or whatever it is. Find a way to help these men get into our state house, because these are the kind of men, real men, who care about people that we want in our state house representing us. And that's what it's really all about, is making sure that we're taking care of the people. We ain't gonna always agree on everything. I mean, like I said, me and my wife, I love her because she's cute. I mean, there's other reasons why I love her, but I mean, that main reason is, and she picks out great ties. But I don't agree with her 100% of the time. But she's still the person that I fight for on a daily basis. And this is what these guys are going to do. They're going to fight for you on a daily basis in that state house, and that's what we need. All right, there's so much more happening. I mean, we're getting close now. I'm excited about the 6 new early vote locations in Marion County. It's starting to heat itself up. More fundraisers, more candidates, more stuff on Indiana's Own. I'm telling y'all, I'm working on some people to come down from the region. I'm excited about that. All right, don't forget, on the 16th, I'll be in French Lick, so there'll be no show. But next week, we do have a couple of guests for you that I do think you will enjoy. So, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to Turn Left. If you want to contribute to our show and become a sponsor, please visit radionext.tv. There's a way for you to sign up to be a sponsor. It costs light to have them lights shining on my little brown self. If ain't no lights on, y'all ain't going to be able to see me. So if you can figure out a way to help us out, radionext.tv, become a sponsor, please do so. All right, Indiana's on Dana Black. I'm out. I will catch y'all next week.